I'm Matt Reynolds, and this is my podcast. Sachi, thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
We're in my hotel room in your hometown of Sydney today.
Correct.
Now, you are involved with the UN. Let's start with your title.
They call me the national expert for Australia.
Okay.
And the second title is jury member.
Yes.
The entity that I am directly attached to is World Summit Awards, which itself is an entity set up by United Nations to identify the world's best and the most creative and innovative IT software products and solutions out of 180 plus UN countries.
Okay, so you just recently returned last week from a trip to Vienna.
Correct.
And I've got it written here, the World Summit Awards Global Congress.
You got it right.
Tell me about the trip.
Very interesting trip, Matt.
Yes.
It was the World Summit Awards Global Congress for the year 2018, which was held in Vienna. And it was spanning across multiple days. We had several sessions on different topics, workshops. This was in addition to the grand jury which we held to select the winners and the global champions for the year 2018.
Okay.
And once we selected the winners, we had another session, very interesting, engaging session at the United Nations headquarters in Vienna to discuss with the UN executives and to sort of enlighten them about how these winners that we have selected are contributing positively to the Sustainable Development Goals set by the UN itself.
Okay, so we're talking about technology companies that were presenting at this summit?
Not necessarily technology companies. These are companies who bring solutions by using technology as an enabler, so to say.
Have you got a good example for us of one of the companies?
I can pick one. There was this very interesting project. It was from Montenegro.
Yes.
And it was called Be and Me.
Be and Me.
Yeah,
yes.
It was kind of an eye-opener because you might have heard of a quote famously referred to as, said by Albert Einstein himself, if there are no bees in the world, human beings will have about 4 years to live, mainly because of the colony collapse disorder. It's kind of a problem which is mostly concentrating on the US and the European countries.
Yes.
So Bee and Me is an initiative they are looking at. It's kind of a baby monitor for bees.
Okay.
If you look at beehives, there are sensors to identify the health levels and the temperature and the atmosphere in the beehive. Is it positive? Is it contributing to the growth of the bees, or is it harmful to them? And if it is not positively contributing, immediately alerting the owners to make sure corrective measures can be taken then and there.
So are you measuring the environment or the bees themselves, the baby bees?
It's actually the environment where baby bees are growing in.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay.
So that's a very kind of a big eye-opener to all of us. It was like, wow.
Yes.
That's quite nice, quite interesting.
So this company has developed, is it software? I guess it's software with sensors. How does that come together?
It's actually done by 2 PhD students.
Okay.
It's a combination of software and hardware both.
Right.
There are hardware components and sensors which they embed to the beehives. At the same time, that provides sensors, the details to the software, which reads continuously and analyzes and sends feedback to the owners to make sure that it's like, taking care of your baby. Your baby's sleeping in the other room, everything's fine, nothing to worry.
I know all about correct temperatures and monitoring the space and making sure it's safe and all those other things.
Exactly.
So we're doing that that company is doing that for bees. Yeah. So there's different people that come together with different ideas and / inventions, I guess you'd say.
Correct.
And then what's your actual role there? Because I know that you've done it. You spoke at the summit and you presented a few of your own ideas and that sort of thing.
Correct.
So what's your role there?
So at 2 levels, Matt. Now, as a jury member, I'm responsible to be part of the grand jury in selecting because we get about more than 400 entries from 180 plus countries.
Okay.
It's actually one of the most difficult tasks to do in selecting who's the best one
Right,
out of
okay.
each category. We have only 8 categories.
Yes.
Everyone is a winner.
Yeah.
And then, it's a very sensitive decision we have to collectively take. So I'm part of the jury, and, I'm contributing together with the others to make sure we all bring different viewpoints to the table.
Of course, yeah.
And our measurement sticks are slightly different to one to another.
Yeah.
So that is one of the contributions. Plus, as the national expert for Australia, my other responsibility is to identify good innovations which is happening in Australia itself, and to bring it to the global stage.
Okay.
And that's a new role, actually. So this year I did not have the opportunity to bring any initiative to the World Summit Awards Global Congress, but next year definitely.
So
it's something I'm looking into.
So you're going to be looking at ideas, companies, solutions
Correct.
that fit this innovation, I suppose, in the sustainability space.
Absolutely,
have I got that right?
Absolutely,
and then
yes.
taking them, like holding their hand through the process to take them to the awards, or how does that?
First of all, we had to do the proper scanning and skimming processes to identify, because there are so many entrepreneurs in the country, and there are so many different scales, so to say, smallest startup to the largest corporation.
Yes.
It doesn't matter the size of the business or the number of employees, or what is their bottom line. That's not what World Summit Awards or UN is responsible or interested about. It's about how these ventures are contributing positively to the society at a local level.
Yes.
And so we believe at local level contributors are identified like that. If they are promoted, if they are given the more significant spotlight,
yes.
they will be more enabled, they'll be energized, they'll be given the tap on the back to accelerate their journey.
And is there people that look at what you're doing and what these awards are all about to fund these projects moving forward? Is that part of it or not?
Funding exactly is not a part of it.
Okay.
But us bringing them to this stage definitely brings them to prominence.
It gives them the exposure that could
gets
lead
them
to
the radar of a lot of interesting people, because there are a lot of investors and entrepreneurs and even philanthropists keep their radars on.
That's what I was alluding to,
moment you bring them to this stage, it's like half of the journey is done.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you talk about? Because you had the stage on, you did seven presentations. Did I have that right?
There were close to 7-8 sessions. This included the mentoring session. We had the youth entrepreneurs from European awards are coming there to get inspiration from different experts, and also we had mentoring sessions, one-on-one mentoring sessions of sharing our ideas, our experiences, what we did, how we did, what mistakes we did, how they can avoid doing the same thing again, and things like that, to group level discussion sessions, to workshops, and the picture that you were looking at, that was at the UNHQ, where we were having discussions with the UN senior executives and enlightening them about the winning projects that we selected by the grand jury, and we were emphasizing on the UN executives to get their attention on these projects, and because UN is kind of a hub, it has so many entities attached to it, so different enablers are gathering around it. So the moment we bring the right viewpoint to that, right attention to it, it can go viral. That's what we did.
How did you get involved at this level? Because I'm assuming that you have to have some sort of results on the board, if you like. You must have some sort of creditable background to be selected by these people to judge these awards and be responsible for bringing some of these projects into the spotlight, as you put it. So how did you first get involved?
Interesting story. I didn't have any idea of getting involved with any of these ventures.
Yes.
The shortest version of the story is during my previous venture where I was working in a software company. I was doing this, I co-founded 2 mobile apps on my own together with the company. One of these applications, Mobile First Ventures, became a winner in the World Summit Awards. And that got me to attend the World Summit Awards Global Congress, which was held in Singapore in 2016. And that's the first time I met this amazing bunch of people, highly energetic. I was like extremely pumped. I was in my best version.
So they selected your work to come to the summits.
So when I attended this summit, I was that was like, if I have to explain a little bit more about, I haven't met such an energetic bunch of people in my life before. Right? Everyone talks about the same values, same passion, and they're driven. They're from around the globe, representing different countries. So I was very highly engaging with them. Once this was over, the World Summit Awards organizing committee, they reached out to me and they was asking, based on the contribution that I did at that summit, they were asking, are you interested to be part of us? And will you be willing to contribute to the jury? I said, definitely, why not? I was like, wow.
Was that an email you got? Was it a phone call?
That was an email followed by a phone interview
yes.
and a confirmation.
And how many times did you read the email before you thought it was really true?
I can't count.
I bet. I bet it was a few times.
It is.
So you had the invite, you said yes, and then that started your journey with the UN, right?
Exactly. That's how I started with the World Summit Awards. And once I migrated to Australia, then I got the second surprise call. They wanted to appoint me as the national expert for Australia, which I, with both hands, wide open, welcomed.
And in the same space, doing the same judging, if you like, of these ideas, yeah?
Correct.
Okay.
Two responsibilities. I play the role of the one of the jurors for the global platform, plus being the national expert, which is a more local responsibility, Matt, to look at the Australian domain itself and to be the guiding light in Australian social entrepreneurship landscape to pick deserving people and to bring them to the attention of the global platform.
So you see quite a variety of stuff and really good stuff from around the world, right? You don't get to this sort of level if you're shabby by any stretch of the imagination. So it's all very very high level stuff. How does Australia sit by comparison to the rest of the world? Do you feel that we have an innovative culture here? How do we sort of rank on the world stage in this particular space?
Australia is definitely among the best league.
Really?
No question about that.
Okay.
But there are a couple of slight perceptual differences that I have been noticing in Australian ecosystem. Australia has a very strong startup ecosystem and social entrepreneurship, and even the platforms that are available for social entrepreneurs are quite at the very good level. But perceptually, but I may be wrong, I'm still new in this particular role, but I feel is not most of the Australian entrepreneurs and who are venturing into these areas, they, in my personal opinion, they do not believe much about the world community. They believe a lot about the Australia itself.
Okay.
So, meaning taking part in a global competition, I believe they do not consider that as a priority.
Okay.
That's kind of surprising to me, but maybe that is due to lack of awareness about such ventures like World Summit Awards.
Yes.
And but that's an answer that I'm actively seeking. That's a question that I'm actually seeking an answer to as of now.
So what you're saying is that part of your role, you're going to try and expose what is this good ecosystem of startup culture, and we have got some really high-level tech people in this country, right?
Obviously, yes.
And you're going to try and take them or some of these ideas through and give them that exposure, or at least connect the two together, right?
Exactly.
To make them aware of it.
Exactly.
So you grew up in Sri Lanka.
Yep.
You migrated to Australia at what age?
Just 1.5 years ago.
Just 1.5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've only been here 18 months?
Yep.
Okay. I want to get to why you came out, but tell me about growing up, and particularly around the time you're a developer yourself in this software space. Let's start with the first computer that you began working on.
My first computer was gifted to me by my father. That was a IBM Aptiva. That was in, I think, 1997.
Yes.
Yeah. The whole purpose of my father buying me a computer was to make sure that I study better.
You studied better? Okay.
I study better,
yes.
And using the materials that are available. I mean, these are the early stages of computer. When 97, 90, I think a lot of software companies that the giants today were incubating.
That's right, yeah. Right? That's when they were all in their garages,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I was very interested about this computer, and I was playing 24/7 with it. Microsoft Word was one of the favorite tools that everyone was, amazed about, the first computer, right?
Yeah.
And then I got my interest mostly into the gaming side of it.
Okay.
Because obviously, I was a small kid and getting attracted to games and things like that.
Yeah.
So my father bought, by the time I went into my advanced levels, my father gave me these CDs.
Yes, advanced levels of study you're talking about?
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
Yeah.
And this physics, chemistry, biology, that was the stream I was into. So he brought me this advanced CD where there are demonstrations and things like which was like, wow, very good.
Yeah.
I did study well on that. At the same time, whenever my father is not around, I was first started playing games. Then I wanted, maybe I can do a little bit more than just playing games, because one problem all of us kids had was these games are available, but there's one famous game, it's called Need for Speed, NFS.
I remember Need for Speed, yes.
Yeah. That was kind of a it game those days. So, and everyone was, at school we were talking about how many tracks did you unlock? How many cars have you unlocked? Because the more you play, the better you play, you keep on unlocking cars and tracks and all. So I was like, well, if you have to organically do this, you will have to play 24/7 and you'll get kicked out of home for playing games. There should be better and easier way to do this. Okay. Right? So I was trying to self-learn a little bit of coding, a little bit of amateurish hacking, so to say. So I was trying to decompile the executable files of the game and the DLL files of the game, and I was installing softwares like Microsoft Visual Studio, which was a development tool which was freely available due to the resources I was connected to. So using this, I was decompiling some of the DLLs, libraries, and things like that. Then I was figuring out, okay, all these things are available. They are not that. It never comes from internet or anything. It's just a matter of marking it as available, yes or no, kind of a thing, at the programming level.
Okay.
Right? So I was able to go to the code level and enable certain things and make sure there was this 50th anniversary version of Porsche.
Right.
That was, I think, 2000, as I recall, 2000 or 2000, maybe 2001, I can't remember. I was able to unlock all the cars, all the tracks, and when I did that, I was like, wow, I was on top of the moon. Then I was like, but when this game was starting, maybe this is like something like illegal to do. But I was a kid, I didn't know much about. It was done by a company called Electronic Arts. It starts with this beautiful EA logo. And I was like, now I cracked everything. I was like, maybe I should give some credit to myself. I wanted my picture to appear there when the game was starting. So I was like, where is this picture? The Electronic Arts very first. So I was looking for it, and there was not a single file. But then I figured out this very first image which was getting loaded is stored in 100 files. 10 horizontally, 10 vertically. One image is split into 100. And there are 100 files collect together to create this file.
Oh, okay. So this
single
is all
wallpaper.
Okay, so I'm not a computer. You know a little bit about me, right? I'm not a computer savvy, particularly at the coding level. So what you're talking about is in the depths of the program that makes it up. They were actually pulling different parts from the files to make this picture.
Correct. Okay. I'll give a more easy to understand.
Yes, do that.
Think about, okay, if you take a picture now.
Yes.
And if you want to put it as your computer wallpaper.
Yes.
When you put it, you're putting only one image, one file.
Right. Yep.
You put the file, it occupies the entire width and the height of the screen.
Got it, yep.
And so I was looking for this one file so I can replace it with something of my own.
Yep.
There was no one file.
Yep.
There were 100 files.
Okay.
And how they have done was, this particular wallpaper in the same example, imagine it being split into 10 rows.
Yes.
So now we have 10. And again, it is split into 10 columns.
Yep.
Now we have another 10.
Yep.
So 10 into 10, we have 100.
Yes.
So these 100 are saved as 100 different files.
Okay.
Now, I don't know why they did it, but because they have done it that way, imagine having to synchronize 100 files without having a proper editor when it loads to look like a as synchronized single image.
So as the program's loading, it's piecing together these 100 bits and displaying an image.
Yes.
Okay. So, and you figured this out in the depths of the
code itself.
Code itself,
yes,
right? Okay, got it.
Yeah. So so I was really happy when I noticed that I was playing with it and for a long time, because it was difficult for me to align 100 elements of the same image. So I wanted my picture, and I put a very stupid comment saying all rights reserved and cracked by my name.
Okay.
Which was something illegal, but as a kid I didn't know.
Yes.
Then I compiled it into a CD, and I gave it to a couple of my friends, and I became the hero at school.
Oh, I bet you did, yeah.
Everyone was like, you're the man. I was like, well, that's it.
And that's
one of the stupidest things I did as a kid.
Well, but one of the things that lit the fire for what has become a very successful career now, right?
Yes, yes. So I figured out what is right and what is wrong. But the technical advancement and the knowledge I got, I now utilize for the better part.
So you did that at that age. You're pretty young.
Correct.
When did you figure out it was wrong?
Just a couple of years after. The moment my father got to know, he said, "You can get sued."
Okay.
Okay, I did something wrong.
Yes. And then, so was that you had a conversation with your father, I'm guessing, at that time?
Well, I didn't tell him. He got to know through one of his friends' son was complimenting about me at home. He has told my father, and he was like, "What is this guy talking about?"
And then you had to explain that?
Yeah.
Okay, so then where did you go from there? In this computer sort of coding space, because you obviously didn't stop. Yes,
I mean, what we did as kids was, just all experiment, just trial and error, trying some things out, because the probing mind wants to try out, experiment, and different things. So then I wanted to systematically learn what computer programming is.
Yes.
Which made me self-learn a couple of computer languages like Visual Basic and C, C++, the basics of Java. Yes. I started with the very first language that I worked on is called DBase 3+. That was like the DOS-based application. That's putting certain commands to get certain multiplications done.
Yeah.
So from that we went to the UI stage and started learning more about the computer, better ethics and how to use programming, then how to use it for your own benefit, not to modify something done by someone else, but how to create something of your own that can bring value to others.
And what was the first thing of real? What was the first thing you created that you were really proud of?
Yeah, I created. It's called. It's a security system that I created very first.
Security system.
Yes. It's kind of because we had problems like most of the, including myself. Sometimes we were working on these hard drives those days.
Yes.
The primitive stages of hard drives, and these do corrupt very easily, and sometimes your assignments to your important, let's say, scanned documents or things like that go missing forever.
So is that before? That would have been after you had the big floppy.
This is the floppy era.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I was having the very first computer was having a 4 gigabytes hard drive, and that was like the best in the industry at that time.
4 gigabytes. Wow.
Then we increased it
That's a photo these days.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, yes.
Yeah.
And then it became 6. Then it became 20. Then the journey.
Yes.
So this is a security system. What I did, it is what it does is it creates a folder.
Yes.
In your computer after once you install it. Yeah. So this installation I had legally put my name and the picture and all rights reserved by myself.
Yes.
Proudly stamping it.
Yep.
So once you install it, there's so much of branding going on at the beginning of the installation. So it creates a folder called Unlocked.
Okay.
Right. The software gives you instructions once you open to store all the important files in this folder. Then you're supposed to give a password, and there are 2 buttons, unlock and lock.
Yes.
When you click on the lock button, this folder renames to lock. Yes. At the same time, it encodes the file.
Okay.
And so even accidentally, you can't delete it. If you try to format the computer, the formatting command breaks at the time of reading that file.
Yep. Because it puts a stop on the on the process.
So you say now if you are having my friend had a problem like this. He has about 2-3 elder brothers. Sometimes when he downloads the game, brothers come delete everything that he put. They put their own thing. So yes. I need to protect my game, which is important to me.
Yep.
Kind of. So it was becoming. It became a big hit at school.
And he used that program to do that at home, right?
Sorry.
He used your program to do that.
Exactly.
At home
he used just one, and many people used it.
So are you? What sort of age roughly are you about this time?
I think I was 15, 16-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not profiting off these ventures at the moment. This is just a love, putting it out there, and just this is kind of like
earning a lot of love back as
return. So after the security system, where did you move on to?
So after the security system, that was like I kind of stopped experimenting and doing simple things on my own. Then I focused and continued on my higher studies and got my degree through, and then we came to the stages of my early career. Yes. Then everything else I did was involved with the company, and that's the journey I came from that to this point.
And what degree did you get? What was your first degree?
Sorry?
What was your first degree?
That was in Management Information Systems, MIS.
Okay. And then where did that lead you to in terms of a first job?
My first job was a perfect fit to my degree because my degree was in MIS, and I got the job as an MIS consultant to one of the banks in the country.
Okay.
And I was really pumped. I was like, wow, I'm entering a good company, a big company. I was like, the very first job. And it was like, the moment I entered the bank, I was like terrified. There are a lot of very senior looking people. It's a big crowd. I was like, this small kid just fresh out of the graduate school.
Yeah.
So, but I had a wonderful supervisor who's very passionate, driven, and he knew who I am from day one, and he kind of put the right foundation to me.
Okay.
And even to date, he's one of my best friends now.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Right. So you stayed in touch, yeah?
Yes, he's now living in Qatar.
Okay.
He's one of the senior executives in one of the leading banks in Qatar.
Okay.
So he paved the path for me to develop my career very well. That I really respect him, and my gratitude goes back to him even now.
Yes.
Right. So the division that I was attached to was called MIS division, that is the Management Information Systems division.
Right.
We did the most boring tasks at the bank because we were doing the reporting for the bank.
Yep.
But Matt, these reports were of paramount importance to the senior management of the bank because
of course, yeah.
They made decisions on behalf of the bank and the bank stakeholders by looking at these reports.
Yep.
It's about profitability of a branch to end customer level to many
products are working, I'm guessing, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah.
And about experimentations on new products, how to refine them. MI's division had a lot of, it was a big headcount division.
Yeah.
And the more I spent time in this division, I felt there's a lot of inefficiencies.
Okay.
Meaning this is where the banks, people use a lot of Excel, and these people don't use the mouse.
Yes.
Even I was really impressed by my boss. He told me, if you want to be an expert in Excel, throw away your mouse.
Really?
Use the keyboard shortcuts. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
Right, I was like, wow, he's the man I need to follow.
Okay.
So,
because the mouse is too slow, am I getting this?
No, what he told me was when you start using the mouse and going here and there, it is number one, slow. Number two, it makes you look amateur. Doesn't make you look. But if you use keyboard shortcuts, you're faster, your hand-eye coordination becomes better, and you feel you're more professional. And you spread that image to others, and others look at it, wow, look at it. It's fast. It gets things done faster.
So was that in the time that the mouse must have just come into sort of...
we were talking about the rollerball mouse. You remember, you had to, when you flip it over, turn it around, there's this heavy ball.
So the first iteration...
Not the laser mouses.
Okay, so the first iteration of the mouse, which were a little bit inaccurate and were slow, right?
Not the best.
Now I'm with you in terms of they're kind of like this.
It works, but it is slow.
Yes.
So my supervisor, he wanted to come up with a new software system to increase the efficiency of this MIS division, and I was one of the key members of the software development team. And we had a very good team as well. So collectively, we were developing a new system for the MIS division. Once this was done, bank was extremely happy, but it created a lot of other problems. It made a lot of people's jobs redundant.
Okay.
And so, previously it was like everyone was working, all heads down from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. from first day of the month to the last day. Now we became... First couple of days you're extremely busy, then after you don't have much work because this system gets everything done.
So you automated a lot of these...
automated quite a lot of things.
Data collation and ordering and all that sort of stuff?
Exactly. Okay. In my exact example now, I get extremely busy the first 5 to 6 days because we do the data collection and cleansing and feeding in.
Yep.
Then system takes care of everything. It runs for a couple of days, actually, large number of data.
And we're talking about the data from the previous month. Crunching data, that data,
and in comparison for the month before and the last year, same month, and many views.
Comparisons and all that, right? Yeah,
so after about 6th, 7th day of the month, it's like, I don't have anything to do. Yeah. But the bank is extremely happy. Management like, wow, you've done your job. Enjoy the rest of the month. I was like, no, this is not good.
Yes. I'm
too young in this career. I'm just a couple of years into it, and I'm getting comfortable doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I told myself, I need to shift gears. Right? So it was a tough decision at that time because everyone liked me and I liked the place, but I wanted to move out of the bank and move into the software development industry itself.
That's quite interesting. So that says a lot about your character, probably now, but certainly back then. So you didn't want to get stuck there in that box, right? You had that inside you to do more and be more, right?
Exactly. I got scared actually.
That you were slowing down.
Yeah, I was like, okay, first 5 to 6, 7 days, I know it's a lot of sense of achievement. You get something done, everyone is happy about it. Then after the rest of the 20 to 25 days of celebration doing nothing, it's like, no, it's not good.
That's not good. Yeah, okay.
It's not good.
Yep. So you made the decision to move on from the bank then.
Exactly, and looking at the local culture of it as well, it was very difficult for many people to understand why are you leaving a bank.
Yes. Because
banks are considered the best place to start the career and even to end the career. Right? Yeah. You don't leave a bank.
Yes.
There's a lot of other benefits are surrounding you in a bank. But I wanted to take that decision, and my parents were with me and took that call at that time, which I really am happy about.
Yes.
So I joined one of the leading software development companies.
Okay.
And I joined at the capacity of an HCI engineer.
HCI engineer.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that stand
for? That is
for?
Human Computer Interaction Engineer.
Okay. What does that mean?
Good question. That is a mix of engineering and psychology.
Okay.
It's about, think about Matt, you as the human being, me as the task that you want to perform.
Yes.
And technology comes in between us, telling that you can get this task done better by using this.
Okay.
But the perception is, you don't see the task that you are going to get done, you see technology. Right? And you get scared because there's something new to you.
Yes.
Right? And
which is why some people are a bit slow to adapt new technologies.
Some people are a little resistant. Some people are a little not ready to welcome technology.
Okay, so this is interesting because they get caught up in the middle and not looking at the end task.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the study of HCI in simple terms is about usability engineering.
Okay.
The main target is to make sure the technology layer sits not in between the human and the task he wants to perform, but it becomes an enabler, foundation.
Okay.
Right? Where you don't see the technology. You are enabled by the technology to get your task done faster, more efficiently. It saves you time, makes your life easier.
So it's a different way of looking at the same situation.
Exactly.
And sort of reformulating that relationship.
Exactly. As I previously said, it's a mix of engineering and psychology, understanding how human brain works.
Yes.
And what it wants done and what it does not want to see in between.
Yeah.
So I joined at this capacity of an HCI engineer to this company, and we were looking at, the company had a wonderful portfolio of products spanning across multiple sectors. So I was part of re-architecturing these software, re-architecting and refining it.
Is this software, we're out of the banking industry now, so what sort of industries are we in?
Different industries, mostly in the telco sector, telecommunications and human resources, HR, and a couple of ERP level systems. So I'll give you another example. Now, taking an example back from banking itself, think about a computer system that a banking executive needs to look at from the moment he walks into the office until the moment he walks out of the office.
Okay.
The colors we use, the size of the icons, buttons we use, the text, the typography we use, and how we lay functionalities. How many clicks does he or she has to go through to get certain functionality done? And how frequently certain functionalities are performed.
Yes.
If you don't think of all this, there's unwanted intensity built in the back of the mind.
Yes.
And that impacts the human being at office, at home.
Okay.
So HCI is to make sure that...
it rolls out in the rest of your life. Yeah, okay,
exactly.
I understand what you're saying,
HCI's intention, human computer interaction, is to bring usability in focus, meaning making it a very pleasant experience. You should be like, wow, this is my system. And everything I do quickly is at a fingertip.
Yeah.
And everything I do once a month, yes, it can go through a couple of clicks.
Yes.
Right? Simple examples like, and what kind of colors I look throughout the day. Am I getting exposed to high intensity hues, which is having a negative impact on my retina? And that has certain unwanted neural sparking, and my chemical balance changes.
So if you're designing an interface or a screen that you have to look at all day, what colours do you lean towards and which colours do you stay away from?
Ideally, you had to stay away from the high intensity colours.
For example?
Red.
Red, okay.
Reduce red.
Yep.
That doesn't mean don't use red in software at all. But I mean, you can't simplify it in one line like that, man. Based on which industry you're in, what you're used to, what you want to see, and your perceptual influence has a lot to play with that.
And is that industry specific, is what you're saying?
Mostly it's industry specific, and it's age group specific, it's gender specific. But think about a software system that is built for education sector.
Yes.
Even teachers who are involving with young kids, they don't want to see very professional colors and very streamlined icons. They want to see something nice and bubbly and very much connecting and close to children.
Yes.
So it's age, sector, gender, a lot of things come into play.
Okay. So you consider all these things when you're re-engineering and cleaning up some of these different systems that you're looking at?
Exactly. Okay. And that's the exercise I was first attached to. I was doing when I was first attached to this software company.
Okay.
And I did this for about 3 years at the capacity of an engineer, so I was slowly moving up in seniority.
Yes.
And then again the same thing happened. I got bored.
Okay.
That is because the product portfolio, we got almost everything done.
Okay.
Then everyone is happy, but except for me.
Yeah.
So I spoke to my senior management. I said, I need a bigger challenge.
Yes.
I have this passion to do something with a team. Give me a team. Okay. And but I was very fortunate that the senior management was very good, and they were listening to me always, and they were very encouraging, and they believed in me, which I'm really grateful to. So they gave me 5 engineers.
Yes.
Made me a project manager, and threw a project at me which is of higher magnitude than that I thought of, and I was scared extremely. I was like, I wanted a challenge, but oh my god, this is huge.
Yes.
So, but I knew that definitely we can do it, because not me as an individual, but because I have a team now.
Yes.
And the team was really good, and they believed in what I believe, and we all connected together. We had the right passion, and we achieved all the KPIs in that project.
Okay.
And that was a big hit.
Yes.
So that's how I started the career as a project manager in the company.
Okay. And what sort of I'm not sure if you can name the project or not, but what sort of can you give us an overview of what that project was about?
The very first one was an e-commerce project.
Okay.
I prefer not to use the name because of the confidentialities that we
Yep.
the company signed with.
Yes.
So it was a big e-commerce project. You can think of it like one of the common e-commerce platforms that are available to everyone.
Yes.
Kind of a local system that was rolled out in the country at that time.
Okay.
But that was like the biggest.
Yep.
Right. So I slowly moved into project management. Then I started getting more projects, and my team grew.
Yep.
Moved into operations management, and then this is a group of companies I was attached to. Yep. And I was I wanted to come up with a different arm to the company, so I was able to create a new branch, which became a subsidiary, which became a company within the group.
Okay.
And I was heading it for the last 5 years of my career in that company,
so
as the head of the company.
The entrepreneur model, is that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that is specifically into software development outsourcing.
Okay.
So it was a software development outsourcing center that we ran.
Yes. So you weren't doing it. You were finding people offshore to do it, or were they outsourcing to you?
We had a team of engineers.
Yes.
We get projects from different countries. We develop it on behalf of them.
Okay.
So we were the
So you're the actual developers.
Exactly. We were the
So in that 5 years, what did you develop?
Many things. More than 50 large, highly scalable projects.
Okay. And when you say large, highly scalable, what are we talking in terms of size?
We are talking about easily, I can quote examples from one of the projects. It's about 8.5 million transactions a day kind of project.
8.5 million transactions a day?
Yes. That's one of the largest projects I was part of.
Okay.
Right. And that is just one. And
so you built, because this is quite amazing for me, not understanding anything about this. You built the system, you built the code, you built everything from ground up to facilitate, handle, manage, problem solve, everything to do with that those transactions in a day.
Correct. Not me as an individual, the team.
Your team, I understand.
I was directing the team.
Wow.
Yeah. And there was just one project, and we did plenty of those. And as a company, we are bound in very strict non-disclosure agreements. So I'm not in a position to expose names.
Yes.
But most of these companies that I work for is well known by anyone. Even if I tell his name, you will know. You know the company.
So global companies.
Global companies
and
around the world.
brands, yeah.
Plus, I was very fortunate to got to travel around the world and got a better, bigger exposure. I met very interesting people, and I was continuously getting inspired by people, and it was fundamental in my growth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you get the work that you did during that time? So all of that's bound by confidentiality, is that right? Everything in
most of the projects. Okay. Because we are like the people behind the curtain. We get the work done.
Yes.
On behalf of someone else.
Yes.
And that's a lucrative business to be in, so you don't need to be in front of the curtain.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah. I understand. So after that 5-year period, where did you head?
Let me tell a little bit more about the latter part of that 5-year period.
Oh, please, yes. Right? I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah. So we were doing the so-called enterprise level solutions.
Yes.
These are not the fun stuff. These are the boring stuff, number crunching at high levels of large TPS and things like that. But I always wanted to, the probing mind I have, I've always wanted to do something different and new and fun and funky.
Yes.
And something to leave a mark.
Yeah.
So I had this passion to move into mobile application development.
Okay.
Because everything what we did was on a client-server architecture level. We went into cloud architectures and things like that. Mobile was picking up. This is the time, iPhones were picking up.
Yeah.
Very first iPad is getting rolled out. People don't know what it is about,
Yeah.
But I knew there's a huge opportunity. The app stores are picking up. This is like, it didn't have a proper direction, but everyone is trying their own thing, and I was like
trying to figure the direction out.
I had the best guys with me.
Yeah.
Why don't we jump into it? I spoke with my senior team. They were like, yes, let's do it, Sachi. So as the first attempt, what I did was I spoke to some of my existing customers, and I told them we can do a couple of mobile apps as a complementary layer to your current systems. And most of the people didn't get this because maybe it's a little too new. Then again, I thought maybe my approach is wrong. And so I want to come up with a better strategy. Because the question is, we haven't done this. We haven't done any apps. So I came back and went back to the drawing board and got my seniors together, and we were just brainstorming. And then again, I thought, okay, let's come up with a strategy. 2 steps. 1, let's do a series of apps of our own, which is fun, simple, but let's make it elegant, classy, beautifully designed. So to bring the wow effect.
So it was almost like you were building your own lookbook, right, to take out to the market. That this is what's possible.
Exactly. Yep. So we had this idea pool every Friday from 3 to 5. My seniors with me, we are just throwing ideas at it, different, any creative idea. Yep. It can be, a idea to do a game, to a timer, to anything that sounds very silly. But what we wanted was to come up with a couple of ideas where we can convert into apps, develop them, put it to app stores, Google, Apple, and to see how people respond to this.
Okay.
So we did quiz apps, little games, timers, and things like that. And we rolled it out to Apple App Store and Google Play Store. And we were observing customer comments, we were refining, we were doing a couple of things. Then it started going really well, and we started getting large number of downloads because I said, we are not doing this to make money, let's put it for free.
Okay, yep.
This is a learning exercise. This is stage 1 of my strategy.
Yes.
So once we got this done, we had large number of downloads, so we have an active follower base. The second stage of the strategy is to take this to our existing customers and tell, look at this. Yep. We have done this. Now, what we have done is fun and nice and elegant. Let's bring the enterprise to mobile.
Yes.
I started speaking about enterprise mobility.
Yep.
Right? I spoke to a couple of large customers in Europe and said, these are decision makers now. We had a couple of DSS, decision support systems.
Okay.
For senior executives, why they are running on, to have a couple of information to make decisions on the fly without going through the entire reports.
Yep.
Did apps on top of the current existing large-scale systems.
Okay, so pulling the relevant data out to make decisions quickly.
Exactly.
I get it, yeah.
And it worked.
Yes.
So this strategy was on the dot.
Yeah.
It was really good. So we started developing apps for many customers, and everyone started seeing it because they saw our competency in doing it, and they liked our strategy of bringing the fun and beautiful apps into boring decision-making tasks and making it kind of gamified. This was about, the word gamification was not even invented at that time. People didn't talk about it.
Yes.
Right? So I used the term enterprise mobility at that time for this.
I like it, yeah.
And then while doing this, I was fortunate to have managed more than 70 mobile app specific projects, more than 70, but I have a list of 70 projects that I really don't remember, don't want to forget about.
Yes, okay.
The most remarkable ones. And so I built a special expertise in this area due to this exposure. And
so just to jump in there, at this time, you're really teaching yourself, I guess, about how to do this, because it's right back at the start of when these app stores just sort of, the concept was just being developed.
Apps, yes.
So you're this is all like on the ground, in the trenches, trying to figure it out, because no one's done this before.
Correct.
Like ever.
Everyone is doing at the same time.
Right, okay, yeah.
So we are not the first to do, but we are amongst many to do.
Yes.
But no one has done it and refined and told the world this is the way to do it.
So there's no roadmap. You've got to figure it out.
There's no roadmap.
Yeah,
we have to figure it out. And we are a small bunch of team which we are driven by passion.
Yes.
And so that's what we shared, and we did a couple of interesting projects, and then came to the level where I wanted to do a couple of projects on my own.
Okay.
Did two.
Yep.
One project in the scope of personal finance.
Yes.
The other one is in the area of music. So I co-founded two apps within this company. First one, the personal finance one, that is out of a painful personal series of incidents, because I got to travel a lot, Matt, these days. And one problem I have is whenever I come from Europe, or it can be from a different country, I have a pile of bills.
Yes.
Receipts with me.
Yep.
And it's tedious to go to my finance division and talk to them and reconcile everything, and as finance people, they take time.
Yes.
And it was a pain. I'm wasting time.
Yep.
So I felt like, what if I have an app with me every time when I go on a business visit? I track everything then and there. I have the ability to create report, shoot it back to my finance division before even I get on the flight. When I land, everything's ready. Money's ready for me to be collected.
Yes.
So that's the personal intention I had.
Okay.
But then if I ask myself, if I'm to make an app out of it, I need to make broader sense, because it's about addressing masses. So how can I do a greater good by bringing this concept as a foundation, but in which flavor am I to put it out to the wild?
Right.
So then one thing I felt was, the common problem what we all have is, we are really good at spending, but we are not that good at saving.
Yes.
So then, I knew, that's it. Let's encourage people to save more.
Okay.
And so we came up with the name, we called the application Expense Tracker 2.0.
Okay. Which I know you can still get in the App Store.
Yes.
If you want to go down and download it now, you can.
You can do it.
Yep.
And we call it the best way to spend while you save.
Perfect, yeah.
And why I called it 2.0 is because there were many expense tracking applications. We wanted to show this is something better.
Okay.
And we rolled it out to the market in 2012, December.
Yes.
Okay. A few years back.
Yep.
Many years back, actually.
Yeah.
Right? And this became a hit. And another strategy that worked really well is, at this time, the very first version of the app, we did it tailoring to the Apple iPad.
Okay.
Because this was the time, man.
Oh, they were new, right?
iPads were new.
Yeah.
But what happened was, there were plenty of iPhone applications, but iPad was running, most of the iPads were running iPhone applications with this, if you can remember, the 2X.
Yeah.
You open the iPhone app and press it, and it scales up, but it has black corners borders, because it's an iPhone app running on a larger screen.
It's just larger, right? It's not actually another app. They're just
it's just zooming. It's getting pixelated. It doesn't look nice. It is not getting the benefit of the app. So we designed it to pixel map the iPad screen.
Okay.
Proper horizontal layout.
Yeah.
Using all the pixels, using all the high definition screen, the color accuracy, everything to its benefit.
Yes.
So this became a big hit.
And when you say a big hit in app terms, is that by how much? Was it a free app? I'm not sure.
At the beginning, we rolled it out as free.
Okay.
To experiment a little bit. Then after we made its application was free to download.
Yeah.
But it had premium features, and it had a
so it's
cap of usage. It's like up to 5 transactions you
can track when you
free.
have like the in-store
in-app purchases.
In-app purchases. That's
I famously used the quote those days saying, I believe in giving the Ferrari to be driven for 1 kilometer for free.
Ah, there you go. Very good.
After that, take it back.
Okay.
So you have given the flavor of it.
Yeah, and that's a classic marketing thing, right?
Exactly.
Try before you buy.
Yeah.
So you said it was a big hit. It's not a. Do you measure that in downloads, in money made,
in downloads,
like,
and
in your language? How do you know? Like, okay, this is this is a hit.
Yeah, because this was like early stages of app stores and all. I mean, we are not a famous app development company.
Yeah.
So we started making enough petty cash than what we were allocated at a company level.
Okay.
So like, wow, this is good. And
so you're funding your own division.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly. So it was like, wow, it was an eye-opener. And people within the company were like, okay, that's an app under our name. And it was done by our guys. And it was like, wow, that was a very good starting point.
Yes.
And then this app got into the top ratings within a couple of countries. It didn't become a number one app, but it came to the top 10 apps in a couple of countries like Canada, UK, Singapore, and it was within the top 20 in Indonesia, USA, and it was doing really good.
So can you say, as it stands today, do you know how many downloads you've got in total?
Downloads-wise, we have close to 500,000.
Okay.
We are about to pass 500,000.
Okay.
But this app we are selling for $5.
Oh, for $5 now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So,
So it's still generating income.
It was generating good income. It was
Okay.
quite nice.
And have you continued to work on that app? Like, I guess it needs updating along the way.
We did update a lot, but now the app, for the past couple of years, we didn't do much of updates because it's self-sustaining and it's very, very usable level.
Okay.
And because then after I moved into my second app, which I co-founded, it's FlipBeats.
Yes, I want to talk about this.
Yeah, and that's another personal passion I had, music.
Yeah.
Well, as a kid, I was very much attached to music, and I was doing a little bit of mixtapes and a little bit of DJing while I was studying and things like that. So one practical problem that I faced was, now I was using phones like Nokia those days, then moved into Blackberries, then iPhones to Samsungs to everything you can name it those days. But we saw how fast these phones are picking up in processing power, RAM, and quality of the screen, from the very first color screen to what we had in a couple of years.
Yeah.
I remember the very first color screen phone I used, which was a Sony Ericsson T65, I think, the name. And that was a 256 pixel array. Technically saying it's like looking at a bunch of pixels and how things change over time very quickly. A couple of years down, you had high resolution screens, and which is better than your laptop.
Yeah.
And one problem I felt was, another side of the story is, you remember how we used to store music those days? It was on cassettes.
Yeah.
Right. Then came the CD era, and then people didn't think about it much, but people started storing music in their phone.
Yes.
Right. So, end of the day, the most favorite collection of music is always in your pocket, in your phone.
Yeah.
Right? I had the same, but I was using the default applications to listen to this music, which every iOS or Android device had. But it's pretty basic. It allows you to play, pause, seek, forward, rewind, and everything. But if you're a bit of an audiophile, you need to refine your sound signatures. You need to get your EQs right. You need to go to a little bit of advanced reverbs and things like that to mess around and get your exact sound signature.
Yes.
So I wanted to do an application which utilizes the power of the phone's advanced processors, allowing you to listen to your favorite musics in the best possible way that you can.
So we're talking about actually sort of playing with the sound.
Exactly.
That comes
refining the sound of the music.
Refining is a much more elegant way of putting it.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
It's reducing the noise signatures, and if you're a bit of a bass head, to increase your bass and to balance your trebles and to push the vocals the right level.
So very much the same way as you change the levels on your car stereo, right?
Exactly. Yes.
During the playing of your favorite song.
Yeah. If you don't care about it, you'll have it flat, but if you do care about it, you'll go through the 11 or 15 or how many EQ points you have.
Yeah.
So FlipBeats was put to the market with the intention of allowing people to refine their music.
Yeah.
So, and it is like bringing a mini recording studio into your pocket.
Yes.
And at that time, we called it the most advanced way to listen to music on a phone.
Okay.
And I believed it was.
Yes.
And this was rolled out to the market in 2013 December, and it was picking up in 2014 beginning. And another interesting complementary story to this was this. I recall it was in March 2014. I was in Germany attending a conference. I think it was in Hanover. It's a CBIT event. I accidentally bumped into one of the senior executives of T-Mobile Germany. And out of my passion, I was showing off this app that I did,
Of course, yeah.
with my team, and I was just quite pumped about it.
Yep.
And he loved it.
Yeah,
He said, "Oh, that's quite cool." And he was saying, this was 2014. This is when Samsung was rolling out the Galaxy S5.
Okay.
In across the world, and he said he's going to roll out in the same month. He was asking, "Can you give me this application for free so I can install in all the devices in Germany, complimentary?" I said, "Go for it," and that's the starting point.
I have heard this story before. I'm really glad you told it while we were recording. But that's phenomenal, right? To think that we're talking about in Germany or across Europe?
It was in Germany. I think we had it rolled out in Frankfurt and Munich first, and it went across Germany.
So every Samsung phone that
under T-Mobile,
it was went out there
with FlipBeats.
It was preloaded. Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm tipping that your downloads really started to increase during those times.
Yes,
because would it register when you turn the phone on?
Sorry?
When you first turn the phone on, does that register it as a download?
It's a default installed app.
Okay.
On the Android phone.
Yes. Samsung what I was asking was, when do you get credited, like, I suppose, with the download? Does is it when the phone first turned on, or is it when they put the app onto the phone?
First time when they install it.
Okay, so we're talking about in the factory.
Exactly.
So they're obviously doing many at a time. Yes, so your downloads just went through the roof overnight.
Exactly, overnight. And also that caught the attention of a couple of very interesting industry-leading magazines like Engadget, Lifehacker. They started featuring it and talking about it.
Yes.
And timing was perfect. Then we moved into, this was March I was talking about. Then we came to the June, July time period. This is when FIFA World Cup was happening in Brazil.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so together with my colleagues, and we came up with a good strategy. We said, listen to the rhythm of football with FlipBeats.
Okay. And that was an advertising slogan that you used.
Small campaign that we did. Boom, it became the #1 app in Brazil.
Oh, really?
In that period. And I was like, wow.
What download numbers are we talking, like, through the World Cup?
So it was rated #1 in Brazil, and also it was rated among the top 10 in Germany, Russia, and India.
Okay.
And so FlipBeats just passed 1 million downloads.
Total now?
Total now.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
And that's FlipBeats only. So together with Expense Tracker and all these apps, we didn't even think of having about at least 10,000 downloads. We just did it for the fun.
Yes.
And so now we are touching masses at a scale.
That's unbelievable.
It's a beautiful story.
So you're, I'm tipping your other apps put together. I mean, that's at 1.5 million. Those two,
correct?
Right?
Those two only.
And you had 70 projects. You said that.
The other projects were done for other companies.
Yeah, of course.
So I can't claim any ownership.
I understand that. Oh, so you don't credit that as your reach, okay? Because you did it for someone else. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
This is the only two.
Okay.
Mostly to talk about, and it was FlipBeats which got into the radar of World Summit Award, which started the other chapter. So that's how all the dots got connected.
Okay, so now we're back at the World Summit Awards, right?
Yeah.
And you went there and you won for FlipBeats?
Yes, FlipBeats won the media and entertainment category for the year 2015.
Awesome.
And that's the story we spoke about.
It is. Now, the FlipBeats is an incredible success by any stretch of the imagination.
It was.
When did you decide that you were getting bored and it was time to move on again?
Yeah, so I completed 10 years in this software development company. I loved it. I loved the people, my team. It was like family. I mean, I was not going to work. I was like, waking up to join my team and do something really great and have fun. It was like the second home.
Yes.
I didn't know which one is home.
Yeah.
So I was very comfortable.
Yeah.
And then again, the other side of me kicked in. I was like, time for you to make a move. And so I wanted to leave this comfort zone to rediscover what I'm good at.
Okay.
And then I was thinking of migrating to Australia. And then during one of these conversations, this is where Logan comes into the picture.
Yes.
Who's
been on this podcast before?
Yes. And I got to know Logan in 2012 because he was one of my customers before. I met him first time in Colombo in a restaurant. We spoke about one of his businesses, and I was the software solutions provider representing my company, and he was the customer. So we connected.
So you were developing for his company at that, or
correct,
he was with
correct,
at that time. Okay,
correct. So we connected from day one.
Yes.
Logan is a very passionate, driven person, and
we
both liked each other.
Yes.
And so that started a long-term relationship. So we did a couple of projects, very successful. He loved it. He was delighted. And so, but we were always in touch, communicating this and that and updating each other what we do, became good pals.
Yeah.
And the moment he got to know I'm migrating, he started telling me about this, his new story, i4Tradies.
Before we go there.
Yeah.
Why Australia?
Good question. I believed Australia has a better ecosystem in multiple perceptions.
Okay, explain it for me.
Looking at, country position wise, this might sound silly. This might sound silly, but the geographical positioning of the country is one of the most safest, I believe.
Because of the isolation factor?
Yes, isolation factor. And if you look at the weather conditions wise, even the winter doesn't go to extreme minus levels. So that is very much livable.
Yes.
And obviously it's rated among the most livable cities, Sydney and Melbourne.
Yes.
So, and I had some family here in Australia as well. So
you've got family here?
Yes.
I didn't realize that. Okay,
not exactly in Sydney, but in Perth.
Okay, yeah.
So, but that's like two different countries, but still in the same continent at least.
Very much, yeah.
So, and I've dealt with many Australian companies, which made me understand how the IT sector works in Australia. So I had a very good understanding and familiarity with that.
Right.
So that was very much ticking most of the boxes to me.
Yeah.
And so that's like the main reason why. And I have many friends here.
Okay.
And who are Australians as well as people who migrated from other places. So those things were justifying enough for me to make the move when I wanted to make a move to a bigger plate. Right.
So now we're at i4Tradies.
Yes.
Logan, when did he first give you the idea?
So we were talking about my migration, and the moment he got to know, he was saying he's working on this project called i4Tradies, and he was asking, are you interested to join? He was inviting me to be his co-founder and the COO. I was like, what is this project? He was like, i4Tradies. And then he was saying, Tradies, that's the first time I heard the word Tradies. Matt?
This is quite funny, we've spoken about this before.
Exactly. Because the word Tradies is very much in the Australian vocabulary.
It is, yeah.
Not much known internationally. Use different alternatives for that.
Yes.
Very silly ones around the world.
Yes, that's right.
Right? So I did a little bit of research about it, and a couple of factors. One, we identified in Australia only, it's a $15.4 billion industry, quite sizable. If you look at the
trade and construction industry.
Correct. If you look at the global picture, forget about the entire world. Think about a couple of countries like US, Canada, and UK, together with Australia.
Yeah.
Those four countries only, it's about $500 billion plus industry. So it's a massive playground.
Yes.
That ticked many boxes.
Yeah.
Second, the Logan's product offering, what he had strategized, is amazing.
Yes.
If you look at the sector, and he was explaining to me, there are three main players. People like you and I, trades consumer, who can be having a leaking tap at home or something wrong with our AC. We want this fixed.
Yep.
And there are trades business owners who are running businesses with tradies as their employee.
Correct.
There are many software solutions targeted purely at the consumer side and purely at the business side, enabling them to take care of their back-end operation. Yes. But there was none connecting these three elements together and creating a beautiful synergy among them.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so I identified that's a blue ocean. There's no competition.
Yeah.
Right? So big playground, blue ocean, and most importantly, this is coming from a person who I knew and who I trust, Logan. There was no reason for me to say no to it.
So you had to say yes.
I had to say yes, and here I am.
So that was... When did you first put your hands on that product in terms of starting to develop it?
I think we were first discussing at the latter part of 2016.
Okay.
the prototyping was done. In fact, Logan has invested significantly at a research level, plus he had very good exposure into the trade service sector for many years due to his previous engagements in the sector. And the MVPs were done, there was working prototypes, there was a dedicated team working on it. So when I joined the team, like the very initial steps were done. It was like a working prototype, and the beautiful arrangement of i4Tradies is that, okay, before telling that story, something commonly I've seen in the IT industry is most of the time IT companies fail because as IT people, we try to develop something on behalf of someone else without getting into their shoes.
Yes.
But i4Tradies doesn't have this mistake. Right? We have partners who are from the trades industry itself, who are our investors. And we co-create with them. They are part of us. So we are not a bunch of IT guys trying to do something for a different industry. We have people coming in from the trades industry itself, IT experts, people like Logan who knows about the industry of IT, marketing to trades to everything. And plus, I believe I'm the newest person coming into this industry, but what I can bring to the table is a different mix of expertise. So it brings a beautiful team together in i4Tradies, and that's power.
I think I've had a little bit of experience developing in this place previously.
Yes.
And I've told you a couple of times now, like I've sat in a lot of rooms where tradesmen try and talk to IT people, and they kind of, they do kind of butt heads a little bit about what's possible and what should be done and how it could be done and, this and that and all that sort of thing. So that collaborative approach that you've taken is very different to anything else that I've seen in the industry as well. So that's a real credit to Logan and you and the rest of the team that have actually been able to do that, because it's critical to recognise that, right? To give yourself a chance of being in the game and collecting the best parts of both sides of the equation, right?
That's fundamental.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, i4Tradies, where are you at? Where are you? You've been involved for 6, no, it'd be longer than that. 12 months?
Yeah, more than a year now.
Okay.
Right. So we have been working on this. Logan has been investing in this for the 3+ years, and we developed MVP. Then we started putting more features during the last year, and something that we try to always balance is i4Tradies should not have all the features everyone is asking for.
Okay.
It should have the most fundamental features, and we believe it has to be an enabler to trades business owners and consumers to get what they want done, maybe not in the way that they have been doing it, but in the best way that it should be done. So we need to be we have to be a thought leader in the industry.
Okay, so part of what you're doing is actually re-educating
the trades industry itself
in a slightly different way of doing it. So can you give an on the ground example of that, about how one aspect of using this app that would be maybe a little bit different to what is previously thought as the way it should be done?
Yeah, because our focus is we try to always bring the customer as the center, foundation of the experience, because no point having the most advanced software solutions to run your backend if you don't have customers for you.
Yes.
So we have to win customers.
Yeah.
Right? So i4Tradies is a customer-focused, or rather customer-obsessed company.
Yes.
Right? We stand for the customer. So we believe in saving time for customer. We believe in making life easy for the customer. Because if you look at now, people talk about these disruptive technologies. Technologies don't become disruptive just because it's technically advanced. It becomes disruptive when people start accepting it and adopting to it.
And it makes something practical actually better. Right?
Exactly. So that's what i4Tradies is all about. A good example is now, this is like, you can use i4Tradies app to order a plumber.
Yes.
And you can see him coming on the map. So you don't need to worry about, okay, he said he'll come at 10. Will he come at 10 is not a question.
Yes.
And when he comes in front of your house, app alerts you. So you don't have to wait till he comes and rings your door. You can take care of your dogs, and you are ready to welcome him in front. And little things like this, it makes a big difference end of the day.
We've talked quite a bit about this previously.
Yeah.
And I keep, I know it's a common thing to do, it's not always a great comparison to make, but this comparison with the taxi industry previously, right?
Yeah.
Where to get a taxi, you'd pick up the phone, you'd go on hold for 30, 40 minutes,
Yeah.
then you'd book a cab, then it wouldn't turn up, then you'd have to ring back, you wouldn't know what's happening, and then Uber comes along and says, hang on a second, we can just change a few little things here, put the customer, give them transparency, give them control, I guess you'd say, let them know what's going on, and boom, they take, I don't know how much of the market, but a huge percentage of the market now, and probably drawn, I guess, more users in as well, just because they've made something, or a fundamentally old industry of just driving people around in cars, so much more easier, right?
Exactly.
And that is, and I don't want to speak for you, but that's what you're attempting to do here, right? With i4Tradies, taking that new view on an old industry and crack a new way of going about it.
Absolutely right. And now we are also in the stage of bringing the fourth element to this a current triangle that we have. We spoke about the trade.
So you're turning a triangle into a square. How are we doing
it? So we spoke about the trades consumer, we spoke about the trades business owner, and the tradie. Now we want to bring the facilities manager as the fourth element, because if you look at Australia itself, there are so many facilities managers, Matt.
Yes.
They are responsible of managing residential properties, commercial properties, or even shopping complexes.
Yes.
They have a lot of pain points, and i4Tradies can easily complement them. The fourth element that we bring in, it can even be a white label solution where it can run under their brand name, allowing them to do what they do better than how they do today, at the same time getting the benefit from the complementing product portfolio i4Tradies has.
And again, that comes back to transparency, right? Because being a trades business owner, operator, and all that sort of stuff, there's not a hell of a lot of problems that can't be solved with just a little bit of extra communication along the way.
Exactly.
Most people generally try and do the right thing. You have your people who don't from time to time, but that's life, right? So most people generally do the right thing.
Yeah.
If we're just open and honest about what we're doing, the problems
are solved.
Go down or are solved. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's so you're full time every day. That's your big project at the moment.
That's the big baby.
I wanted to just have a couple more questions before we wrap up, Sachi. But I wanted to ask you, from all the knowledge that you have, excuse me, in the technology space, from what you've done, what do you see big in the next 3 to 5 years? Because I keep hearing in the media and kind of this feeling that we're at a bit of a tipping point, maybe, in terms of like a few different technologies that are, you've got AI, virtual reality, and there's like, a gamut of these things that we're sort of just Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and is it all about to happen? Like, what do you see as big in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think you are correct in identifying this technology that you mentioned as big. AI is huge. We don't know what it's going to do.
Yeah.
We know it's huge, right? And things like machine learning, things like AR, VR, and even blockchain is becoming a fundamental change to every industry, not only in cryptocurrency itself. But there's another element that I believe in, Matt. This is maybe because I got this exposure because of the involvement with the World Summit Awards.
Yes.
It's about, I believe it's high time for all of us to think about the sustainable development.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because if you look at us as entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs, we may be driven by multiple factors.
Yes.
This can be our passion for technology, like I'm a hardcore crypto guy, or it can be because I'm a hardcore AI guy.
Yeah.
Right? Or it can be a different vision that we have on a certain particular path. Yes. Or it can be even just monetary benefits people are expecting by being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I believe regardless of what our drivers are, it's high time for us to think about the sustainable development goals set by the United Nations. There's 17 of them. This is a good way to self-reflect yourself, look at our own businesses.
Yes.
You don't have to change much.
Yeah.
Just have to look at it from this framework and rethink about what you do and figure out how you can refine what you do maybe a little bit so it can contribute better to your local community. right? Contributing to a greater cause. And I believe if most of us start thinking like that, it's going to create the snowball effect on the global community.
Can you, of the 17, have you got maybe a couple of examples you can give us?
SDGs are very simple concepts, Matt. It's like think about giving focus on quality education,
yes,
clean energy,
yeah,
meaningful consumption of resources,
not wasting stuff,
yeah, right, and even trying to eradicate poverty, right? You don't need to be just running charity organizations. You can be doing your businesses, but try to align what we do in a way such that it is more aligned, more focused in contributing to at least one of the SDGs.
Yes.
And that will give you a more meaningful reasoning as to why we are entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
And a more justifiable reason to why we do what we do.
And there's just, from what I've looked at, some of these things can really be achieved with not groundbreaking changes in direction, right? Like some of them are just 1 or 2% here or there that can actually, you extrapolate that out over the next 5 or 10 years building your company, and then in turn the impact that it has, and all of a sudden that one little thing that you do has a huge impact, right?
Exactly.
And it takes a lot of time and no extra effort, or makes the process even better if you do it anyway. So it's about bringing awareness to that. Is that what you're
Exactly. It's an increased awareness.
Okay.
So I believe regardless of what technological trends that we talk about, yes, AI is huge, crypto and VR, AR, we talk about machine learning. You can be driven by many factors, but try to bring SDGs as a framework to relook at what we do.
Okay.
So that will allow us to continue to do this, because if you look at what sustainable development is, that is development meeting the needs of the present without compromising the future generations to meet their own needs.
Yes.
Meaning, we should be able to continue our development without destroying our world, complementing it, making it a better place. So next generations to come can continue to do this at a bigger scale.
And if anyone wants to get information about that, you just wrote a good article reflecting from some of the parts of your trip, which is available on your website,
LinkedIn.
Which I'll make links to, and also through LinkedIn.
Correct. LinkedIn. I published on LinkedIn. Just Google it. It's there.
Google it.
Freely available.
It's there.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, a couple of questions, Sachin. We're gonna wrap this up. A question that I ask everybody: if you'd have one law changed or implemented, what would it be?
Good one. I think regardless of where people are from,
yes,
people should have better freedom to travel around.
Okay.
Right. Meaning access to countries. I have a good example. Once I was visiting a summit somewhere in a country in Europe, and I missed that mainly because the visa that was stamped on my passport,
yes,
the starting date was 11th, but it was typed as 17th. For some reason, the typing was so close, even I didn't notice it.
Right.
So I was turned around and sent back at the Frankfurt airport.
So you're going to a UN?
Not a UN. This is a business conference.
Just a bit of okay.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I missed that. But think of, this is a simple thing. But think of someone who's really from a more deserving country trying to get one of a lifetime opportunity.
Yes.
That happening to him or her. That is catastrophic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's catastrophic.
Yeah.
So I believe if people can have better access to enter countries, yes, security is important. Yes, we need to have other restrictions, but I believe we need to use technology in a way to get rid of these doubts and problems without making it a barrier to deserving people to travel around and make impactful change in their lives, their communities, and at the global scale. That would be the one thing I would like to.
It'd be great to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Are you a reader? Do you read books at all? Being from electronic books, e-books, I'm assuming, or
not exactly a big book reader.
Okay.
In fact, I get scolded for this from my parents.
Yes.
My father is a massive reader, but I read a lot of articles. I read a lot of websites.
Yes.
I have a morning routine. I read a couple of articles as well as I listen to a couple of subscribed channels on YouTube itself.
Oh, yes.
So I'm a different version of a reader, so to say.
So what are the channels? What are the websites? Because I normally ask for book recommendations. What are the websites you go to first thing in the morning?
I mostly go through these, again, technology bias like Verge, TechCrunch, and Lifehacker. And those are just few. Plus, I have a couple of subscribed YouTube channels. Some are famous, some are not.
Yes.
So that's my morning dose of encouragement every day.
To keep your fingers on the pulse and
exactly
in the game.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add, Sachi, before we finish up?
I think pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone wants to get in touch with you, are you comfortable with them approaching you? Where do they find you?
Just Google my name.
Just Google your name. It's and it'll come right up, right? There's a lot out there. Yeah. I was doing a little bit of research for this, and everywhere I look, you're one of those people that I've gotten to know you a little bit, and every time that you look or you turn the corner, you've done something else, and there's something else. You find out something new, and there's a ton out there on you. So, Sachi, thank you for sitting down. It's been great to chat. A blast to find out a little bit more about what you're doing, and you're a high achiever, mate, and I really look forward to seeing your journey over the next few years, because if the past is anything to go by, the next few years is going to be pretty exciting too. So thank you.
Thank you, man, for having me. Pleasure.
Hey everybody, it's Matt again. Thanks for listening. Just a couple of things before you guys clock off. You can get all Trench Talk episodes at xrm.com.au/podcast. You can also sign up for other goodies at the same site. Just plonk your email in there and you are covered.